today, guys? Welcome back. As you can see, we are finally in the new shop. This is probably the first official video that we will be working on something in the new refinished shop, finally, with the new lights, the new everything. I don't really know if we ever really did a full shop tour, but here we go real quick. We got stuff packed in here everywhere. All of the trucks are inside here. As you can see, got the second gen, the 08, the 05 over here in the corner, the new first gen, the old first gen. We didn't really have time to unpack anything. Everything is still kind of a mess, but we're in here. I'm excited to finally get back to work. We took a break from the race truck for this evening, and you might ask yourself, what are we working on? I'll be working on trusty old 08 here. We've had some issues come up recently that have kind of been in the background, but we're gonna do the first day of working on this beast, tearing it down. So real quick general background for this truck. This truck, as you guys know, if you guys been here for a while, drove this truck every single day. This thing's got 225,000 miles, I think, roughly on it right now. Has been an amazing truck. Have owned it since, I believe, about 30 or 40,000. So I've owned this truck since it was a baby and up until this point. So a lot of really good stuff I want to touch on. A lot of questions that you guys ask me on a daily basis. We can cover and hit with this truck, kind of where it started from, what it's been doing, some of the good things, some of the bad things, the parts that went into it, some things that I would change, some things that I wouldn't. So you guys have known that I've mentioned that this thing has kind of shown signs of a bad head gasket. Well, the water pump went out. We changed the water pump here recently, and then not shortly long thereafter that, wow, that was a couple words that I don't know if that made sense, but anyway, we were on our way back from work, which is a very short drive, and the temperature gauge started coming up again, and I'll show you guys underneath here. The overflow bottle finally. It got full and it just blew everywhere. So as you guys can see, level is right about right there. So head gasket definitely completely done. It's been bubbling in the overflow for, man, probably well over a year. Have been driving around on it. Never really overheated or anything, but just every time I shut the truck off, the pressure would bubble the overflow. And then finally driving, there is enough of issue with the gasket that it kind of like blew all the coolant. Some guys have different head gasket issues. Some guys, they go just like that and they spray coolant everywhere. There's a lot of different ways a head gasket can go bad. Luckily, mine was a very over time kind of thing, which allowed me to kind of drive the truck. So again, general overview of the history of this truck. This truck was bought as a do-it-all, don't fix it until it's broken, drive it every day as a work truck, and that's kind of what it has done for its entire life. The only things that are really done to this truck, the factory VGT turbo went out around 140,000 miles. That's roughly around the time frame that the stock turbos, either you'll have actuator problems, you'll have a couple different problems with the factory turbos, but right around that mileage, give or take. Some people can go much longer, some people shorter. So the major thing that we did to this truck when that happened was we did a second gen swap with a 467.7 turbo on it. Other than that, we took care of the base requirements. It has an AirDog fuel system on it, which has been amazing, never missed a beat. Some miscellaneous stuff, but it is a completely stock fuel truck, stock injector, stock CP3, and the only other things that we have really done to this truck when we first got it, we did ARP 625 head studs. So a lot of guys always ask, and I know I'm kind of rambling here, but a lot of good talking points. A lot of guys always ask about head studs, doing them one at a time, different head stud qualities, this and that. So just showing you guys, if I did mine one at a time way back when with very low miles. It has gone up until 225,000 miles until it's kind of developed a issue. So there is no fix for saying you'll never ever have a head gasket problem. Now, that's quite a bit of miles. That's 200,000 miles. Say we did it around 20 or 30 when we head studded it. This truck has 200 some odd thousand miles on head studs before it ever had a head gasket issue. So in my book, it's doing pretty good. We haven't really done or replaced a ton of everything else. Like I put a fan clutch or two in it. But other than that, this truck has been completely solid, completely reliable. But it's time for the next phase of the 08, which I'm pretty excited for. We've been talking for a long time about taking this thing to the next level. I would say, you know, on the highest tune setting, this truck, being its stock injector stock CP3 is going to be very, very limited, even though we have a bigger turbo. So I think it's time to crank it up to, let's just say 750, maybe 800 horsepower, which is a horsepower goal a lot of you guys want to hit. Now, I mean, we did have some sort of goal like that for this truck. Kind of got out of hand, and we made 900. So we're not going to do that. We're not going to gear things towards making things that big. I'm going to want to hit a target for a lot of you guys. Is this thing still going? Yeah, we're still going. 6 minutes. Wow. We're going to hit a target goal for you guys that is very, very popular. A lot of you guys need to use your truck to tow and just be a well-rounded daily / workhorse / whatever you want to call it, but we don't need to go play on the weekends. This thing is going to go back to doing what it was, and that's towing the gooseneck, things like that. So we're not going to make it too rowdy. I promise. Fingers crossed. So anyway, my goal for this evening is to tear this thing completely down, pull the cylinder head off, show you guys some things as we're taking it apart, show you guys some parts. We're not going to really get into everything that we're going to be reusing and not. I'd like to change pretty much everything that we're taking off. You know, there's a lot of cool things that we're going to do, but we're actually going to take off the entire front end. I believe it does need a new fan clutch. The front main seal is leaking. We've got a couple leaks in the engine bay. So just a lot of 200,000 mile problems that just need to be kind of upkept. I would call it upkeep more than I would call it problems. So anyway, done talking, let's get to work. We're gonna start pulling this thing apart. Boom. Knuckles. Boom.
You say bye-bye?
Bye. Hold the fly swatter. All right, thank you for your help. right, guys, and here we are. We are, I don't know, maybe halfway, maybe not so halfway torn down. As you can see, we took the entire front clip off. As you can see down here, mostly, you can see down in here, you can kind of see around in here, and you can definitely really see it when you go down underneath here. The front main seal is leaking on this thing pretty good. It hasn't been leaving spots or anything, but it is enough for me to know that we need to change it. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna pull the front cover off. Probably gonna end up changing the cam out because we're already there. Why not? So we're gonna go through that whole process again on that if you guys missed any of that. So stay tuned for that in the upcoming videos. But a couple other things that I wanted to address at this same time is some of the stuff that we've replaced, we've changed previously already. Kind of give you, like, I always get the question like, you know, like what can I expect? What should I think I'm gonna have to change? So here it is. Here's kind of like the maintenance rundown of what I've had to do with 200 some odd thousand miles on it. So as far as front end accessories, you know, factory power steering pump, factory everything. I think I've replaced one tensioner. I think I've replaced one before this one, one water pump, so maybe two water pumps, an AC compressor once, and an alternator once. So not too much, just normal maintenance things. On the pile over here, factory radiator, factory intercooler. I have replaced a couple fan clutches though, and I will say that is one thing I'm usually not too terribly like you have to buy OEM, like the alternator, the tensioner, like good quality aftermarket like Napa, the HD Napa brand, like that's normally what I would go with. Well, the fan clutch is one of those things where I would definitely go factory OEM quality. I've kind of had a couple of these warrantied out. They're kind of a pain in the butt, so I will. The fan clutch is bad again. That's why I'm mentioning it. So we will be going back to like an OE factory fan clutch, but everything else has been good. Who knows? We may just upgrade these, but there's nothing wrong with those. But over here, here's where I kind of wanted to stop and pause. You know, I kind of want to give you guys as much information as possible while we're tearing this thing down. And I wanted to pause here really well. Well, that didn't make any sense. I wanted to pause here because this is a big topic. So second gen swaps in general, probably one of the biggest selling item things. Move a lot of them. They're just very popular. Your factory charger goes out. You don't really want to go back with a factory charger. So I kind of wanted to dive into that because it's a question that I get a ton. So your factory truck, right? Your factory charger on your truck, you know, we've been over the kind of mileage, it goes out. You got three options here. So if your exhaust brake means the world to you and you are not willing to lose your exhaust brake at this current time right now when you're watching this video, there is really, if you're gonna keep your factory exhaust brake, you only have a couple different options. You have factory charger, your fleece cheetah charger, that's really your best option. Those are around $2,700 bucks. If you want to save a little bit of money and you don't care about your exhaust brake, there is some drop-in like factory location non-VGT S300 options. Those are in your $1,600, $1,700, $1,800 range. Really nice kits out there. Replaces your charger. Don't have to worry about the VGT anymore, but you don't have an exhaust brake. So the last option is what a lot of people go with, and that is a second gen swap. So a second gen swap really is just kind of referring to you're changing the manifold to a second gen style location. The outlet is in the middle here. As you guys can see, the factory third gen manifold looks different. This is just resembling a second gen. That's why they call it a second gen swap. Basically just referring to the location. So anyway, what I wanted to do is show you guys the items that I've had on this truck because a lot of people always ask about reliability, all that stuff. So these parts, we kind of did our second gen swap. I want to say about 100,000 miles ago. So it's got 225 on it now. We did it around 125, 130, something like that. So been on here quite a bit and had a lot of miles on it. I just wanted to kind of go over what I have and some issues that have come up, some things I would change, some things I wouldn't change, just information for you guys to go forward and make good decisions with. So here's what we got. We did not actually buy a quote unquote kit to put this together. We kind of pieced this together, which looking back, you're kind of hunting around for a lot of different things. And this is just kind of what I had come up with. So let's just start over here. Don't mind the Napa fan clutch tool right here, just getting it done. Kind of a little bit of a pain, but always going with a steed speed. Now, I will say this, the manifold looks like this because in the Northeast, driving in the salt, if you don't really wash that stuff off, it's gonna eat pretty much everything. So not a great job on my part of, washing the salt and everything off. And as you can see here, the turbine housing, man, she is seen better days. As far as actual issues, this is just a cosmetic issue. The steed speed we are going to keep. We are going to basically blast, recoat that, put that baby right back on. So steed speed T4 angled manifold is what we went with on that. For the turbo, when we decided to go with this, we did a 467 FMW Borg turbo. Now, how is this thing held up with the abuse that we have put it through? This thing has actually done better than I expected. Now, there's no in and out. There is a little bit of side to side. You guys, I don't know if you'll be able to see really closely, but right on the edges, the compressor did start to rub. The compressor wheel did start to rub the housing just a little bit. You can kind of see that a little bit right there. So it definitely probably was time for a rebuild on this turbo, but other than that, has not given me a single problem. It has put up, 100,000 miles, a turbo needs a rebuild, that's not a big deal. As far as the other parts of this second gen swap, we kind of made up our own drain, kind of made up our own feed line. Again, have seen better days. Look like that fitting, looks like it's seeping just a little bit there. But other than that, have been good. So one of the big things that has been a pain in the butt on this setup are the exhaust manifold hardware right here. So as you can see, we've kind of got a couple different things going on here. These actually used to be popular before the fleece, the ARP studs came out. These are actually ARP bolts, which these have done pretty well. These are what I had on it, and these are something that I'm really not a huge fan of. I really like the studs. I have not had studs ever come loose on me. I have had these bolts come loose. So I don't know if it was just me, a torque thing. I usually tighten the crap out of everything, so I'm not really sure, but a huge thing, I would go with exhaust manifold studs. I think they do a much better job of not coming loose, holding this baby on there. Again, that's just my personal preference, but other than that, I would say those are one of the only things. I've had a couple come loose. We've had to swap to some different stuff, but other than that, that's really been my only quote-unquote issue with it. Other than that, just looks a little rough. It's been sandblasted, been powder coated, and this is really just some generic piping. I believe this is a Source Automotive pipe. Got our Banks filter on here. So we're gonna be going through all this stuff. We're gonna be changing everything out. We're gonna be going with something a little bit different on all of this stuff. We're gonna be upgrading, we're gonna be upsizing, but I just wanted to kind of run through what I had on this truck. It has lasted, it has been awesome. Oh, one big thing. I forgot, I wanted to mention this. The downpipe. We didn't take the downpipe out, but the downpipe is part of a quote-unquote kit. The fleece, and I'm not just saying this, if somebody else had a better piece, and maybe they do, but I've had a couple different downpipes on a couple different trucks. The fleece downpipe that they come with their kit, not only, let me try and see if I can get in here. Sorry, I'm sniffling. This downpipe is the best fitting, has the best flange, is the best welded. So a couple other things that I've seen on second gen kits is that flange right there on the downpipe will actually, the welds will crack. So if you don't have a good quality stainless downpipe, some good welds, some good like flange on it, you will have some problems with that. Not with the fleece one. The fleece one is seriously beefy. It has never given me a problem. I've replaced many of them. They always get a fleece one. Other than that, guys, I believe that is pretty much it. That is all of the tips and tricks and things going on with it this far. Like I said, in the next video, we're gonna be diving into the valve cover. As you can see, we have a little issue here. Oil's been leaking all over the place on this thing. It's been kind of a little bit of a mess. So obviously going to get a better valve cover. We're gonna be upgrading a bunch of other stuff and we'll tear it down the rest of the way, but this is kind of a good stopping point. Wanted to kind of give you guys all of that information. If you guys have any other questions, leave them down below. I will try and answer all of the questions that you guys have. But looking forward, really looking forward to the new setup on this thing. It's been a long time coming, so a lot of good, awesome parts that we're gonna be upgrading. And that's it. So make sure you guys hit the like button before you leave. Subscribe if you have not already. See you guys in the next one.